Okay, family, I'm back.
Okay.
Did you have any questions already, or did you want to build on anything in particular before I started the actual subject?
No, not really. Not at this time.
Okay. All right. Well, it comes down to the subject matter had to deal with relationships, and I notice a lot of people don't like to go into the subject because for some reason it just seems like we rather talk about everything that goes back 10,500, 5,000 years, 500 years, and all that other stuff, but we don't like to go into things that are prevalent today. And, I can only give do's and don'ts or just the definition of what something is or what our relationships are supposed to really be about. And I think that the problem comes down to not really knowing exactly the main fact of us being culturated so deeply into this European structure that we think we know what we desire in terms of relationships. Most of the attributes that we look for, that we want to acquire from a person, that's been socially engineered to want those things. On the male side, in terms of attributes, 9 times out of 10, a man is looking on the physical side and not in terms of intangibles into a woman. On the other side, for a woman, and this is like on an average, a lot of sisters are looking for a man that has a certain amount of money. So he's based on intrinsic value. He's based on capital, and not at the same time again based on attributes. So you're getting two people coming together for a superficial reason. The term love itself, most people would only make that synonymous with a feeling you get when someone is connected to your heart chakra. It's a feeling you get, it's a burning sensation. But they never equate love with the fact that, number one, when you get with someone, you're taking on a person's being. It's not just a physical situation. It's the fact that, number one, love is something that, number one, even before you get with that individual, you have to ask yourself, how much do I love myself? Because depending on how much you love yourself is depending on what you feel your worth is. And a lot of times we don't know, we never even ask ourselves that question as of what love truly is. What does it really mean to love myself? Because again, love is also based on value. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. I went to a meeting. We talked about net worth. As an individual, your net worth is based upon assets. And you have to ask yourself, am I an asset to myself or am I a liability to myself? That's something that a lot of people don't think about. And the problem is, each time I make a statement, I have to go further and further back. On the man level, most men get their confidence based upon results. You meet a woman and you go up to her and she either accepts you or she rejects what you're offering to her in terms of trying to get to know her. And a lot of brothers get rejected a lot. So what happens is their initial confidence is pretty much broken down. But as a man is, his confidence is created based upon what he knows about himself and his attributes and his talents. So if you know yourself, regardless of whether she takes you on, that really remains to be seen. It's not up to her. It's not up to you to think about why she did or why she didn't. Just due to the fact that, number one, you are who you are. So confidence should resonate from you regardless. And that is an attraction that we all know that women like, because no woman wants to be with a man who's unsure of himself. Because if you're unsure of yourself, you're going to be unsure of the destination that you're going to take this woman that you're with. Because the problem is that we do have a lot of single people running around. And then, but let me go into on the female side again. Sisters play more of the passive role. They usually allow men to come to them. So a lot of times, if a man does not approach or, step up to the plate a certain way, that's being perceived as being rejection. The problem is a lot of brothers now, and I talked about this with my mother a couple of weeks ago, a lot of brothers nowadays, they're getting into the wave of a lot of effeminization on not so much on a homosexual level, but on not taking on a dominant role or taking on a leadership role, I should say. You are allowing yourself to take a back seat instead of you stepping up. So when it comes time to actually step up and say what you want to say, you're afraid of rejection. So we got two people who's waiting. You have a woman who's waiting on you to take the lead, and you have a man that don't know how to do it. Because we're going through all these different situations socialistically that we've been through over a certain amount of time that stripped the leadership qualities that man naturally has, with just the ability to take command of himself. So all these things have to be rebuilt within self. And then the fact of what we talked about earlier, we were talking about men when they approach women is based upon a superficial level. How a body looks, how cute she is, all this other stuff. And the fact that you're only seeing her from that angle shows how much she's worth to you anyway. She's only being seen by you as a physical trophy or someone to have sex with. And then even on the sexual level, most of the attributes, or not even attributes, most of the things that we do in terms of sexually, we learned those things from the European, from our own oppressor. So we do a lot of things genetically now because it's in our DNA to do specific things. We learned that stuff by watching porn. A lot of men learned sex by watching porn because somewhere within their family, a lot of times their mother or their father was not open enough to actually give them, instruction. And even then, you're talking about parents who went through the same system as they did. So we've been manipulated and destroyed in terms of what exactly is our real reasons for just sex. Nothing wrong with emotions coming in, nothing wrong with affections coming in. But when you don't even know what you're doing, you have to rethink and recalibrate everything. That's very important because we can't sit here and repair nations of people when you have a bunch of us running around here either single or not knowing what our purpose is together. And another thing, people got to take this into consideration when we talked about people coming in for superficial reasons. You are either an asset or a liability to each other. The best thing for you to do is find someone who has more to lose, at least close to the amount of time or the amount of something that's you, I don't want to lose anything. I have a lot to lose. I have a lot to look forward to. So I want someone who's on the same mindset as me, as opposed to getting with someone who has nothing to lose, so they're really draining energy from you, as opposed to it being reciprocated. They don't mind getting with you because there's nothing else to do. I could just waste this person's time. All this is necessary. You have to ask yourself, you got to realize is that we've gotten so far away from the reason for marriage, the rites of passage levels, all these things, which is very important because, again, when you marry someone, you marry their family, not just the person. So genetically and on DNA and RNA, you're taking in everything about that person, whether it be their disease, whether it be their ways, whether it be their broken bones, whether it be different attributes of their family. You take on those things. So you can't just marry the person, but, do away with their family, because it's 30 generations connected to 30 generations. All these things have to be thought about before we even think about getting with anyone at all. I got to look at this person, let's say for the next 5 or 10 years, because if we're trying to rebuild a nation of people, then we have to start thinking about why am I single on this side, why am I single on that side, and have nations of people when everyone's bumping around or jumping into each other and they're single. There's no refilling of the earth. So you can't have black organizations in nations where there is no babies being born. It doesn't work like that. That's why we always say the age-old question, the age-old statement is homosexuality is the opposite of consciousness, because consciousness is part of African consciousness is realizing that we're at a state, we're almost at a point of genocide. So you can't get out of genocide if you're coming together man on man, woman on woman. Homosexuality doesn't allow you to continue to give birth. So you have to come together and find the reasons for coming together also. And one more thing, another thing is that ask yourself, for yourself, what is my mission statement to myself as a person, male or female? What am I trying to get accomplished in life? Okay? And when you get with someone, or before you get with the person, ask them, what is your mission statement in life? Do you even have one? And whatever they say, it has to somewhat coincide with what you're trying to do. It doesn't matter what age, because at the end of the day, we can recreate ourselves to whatever mission we put in front of ourselves. So all that is necessary. Whatever you put in front of yourself, you have to realize that the person you're taking on for yourself, they have to also want the same interest in mind too. So all these things, I'm just saying to people that whoever listens to this or who is listening right now, is that these are things that you take on a person, and they also take on you, but you also bring on different reasons, because the main reason why you're getting with this person, y'all fit well, as opposed to just saying, wow, they look good in this and they look good in that. That's not going to last very long. In reality, we go back to African families. When you got with someone based upon emotion, that was looked down upon. Whereas you wouldn't see your mate until you were able to get with them. See, that takes a certain amount of discipline to say, you know what, I'm going to get with this person based upon how my family sees this person, how I'm marrying into wealth, all these different things, as opposed to now where everything is based on emotion. Everything is. When you get with someone, you're basing it on how you see yourself going in the park with this person, going here, but there's no goals being met with the individual. And so when you know where that person's coming from or what they're trying to do, and you know where you're coming from, they know where you're coming from, y'all can mesh together and create your own missions with that individual. That's where you have to think, or what we have to think about in terms of relationships, is mission statements and goals. If there's no mission statements and goals, that relationship will become idle very quickly. That is very important. So, but everything when we use the term love and all those other things, that's something that needs to be established within self before you even think about talking to someone. How much do I love myself? Again, and how much you love yourself is doing part to how you see your self-worth. Because if I see myself as high regard in terms of wealth, then I'm gonna love myself, and I'm gonna want the best life for myself and the best surroundings for myself. So, does anyone have any questions, or do you have any questions, sis?
Well, I find this most, Most enlightening, because a lot of what you just shared is really where my head has been, because of the fact that I had to look at my actions, others' actions, and then I had to kind of like put some pieces to the puzzle together. Plus, what I started to do was just watching other people.
Right.
I would watch couples. I would watch maybe a single person, but I watched the interaction. And I found just by watching people, I could kind of almost tell, I said, I don't think they have a great relationship. I think there's a lot going on with them. And then there's others, I could look at them and say, I really think that they really have something, substantial there. Mm-hmm. And that part that you said about love of self is very, very important. What is your self-worth? Because this is just very mind-boggling, mind-blowing to me, because this is really so where my head has been with the Nuwaupu Nation, just in life in general, because of the fact is that a lot of people get together for all of the other reasons, as you stated. I find that most profound because a lot of people don't look at themselves as an asset or a liability, or am I going to help build this person up with their goals and where I'm going, and are they going to do vice versa with me? Do we see this just as something that we're doing, or what are we building together? I never even looked at a mission statement. I'm like, a mission statement, I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
And the part about what am I trying to do with my life, I mean, that's something that I do know. But the mission statement part, I probably do have a mission statement. I just never looked at it like that.
Right.
I never even thought to even put it on that level, because are you saying that it's not correct for a female it's not correct for a female to see a male that she would like to possibly get with and pursue him for all of the correct reasons? Are you saying that is not how it's supposed to go?
No, I'm saying that, you can see a person be physically attracted to that person, because we're not, the way we're set up now, because you have to do things based upon your surroundings. But the way we're set up now is that, we don't have the luxury of being chosen, where we dealt with, priests and priestesses, and we get put together. It's not like that. We meet each other and we're attracted to each other physically first. So then everything else happens based upon conversation. You really get to see where the pieces fit together in the puzzle. And you might be physically attracted to a person all day long, sexually and everything. But if it's not something like, that's why I said mission statement. Mission statement is something that you put together with someone already knowing within, let's say, close to being together. Like, you already know, like, let's say, for example, also, if you date a person for 3 to 6 months, you already have an idea that you're probably going to want to be with this person for a certain amount of time. So when I say mission statement, it's like I get with someone and I figure out, okay, do we have the same goals? Like, if, let's say, okay, perfect example, I want to be a school teacher at some point, okay? And she might already is a school teacher, or she's someone that just wants to teach kids, or she's someone that wants to put our money together and create like a homeschool situation. And that's a mission statement. That's something that you both can work on together, as opposed to just he's doing this and you're doing something else, and y'all will meet up whenever y'all meet up. So y'all are living two different lives in the same unit. You know what I'm saying? That's how it is in the European system. Because I can be in a relationship with you, where we only really meet up physically. But when it comes time to what we do in terms of intangibles and in terms of like destinations in life, we don't even meet up on that level. You can be in the same organization with somebody and read the same books, but you can still be going in two different directions.
That's true.
So
that's true.
That's how I look at things. That's me. I'm the type of person that when I get with someone, like getting with that person in terms of relationship, we have to mesh in terms of what we want to do for the next 5 or 10 years.
Okay.
Okay. So hopefully that made sense to the question you asked.
No, it really, really makes a lot of sense because I really have been pondering on many things lately as far as what really do we know as far as our culture is concerned, as far as us as a people, because of the fact that we are in this dominant society. We're considered a subculture. Right. So, I mean, this is their society, so really we are living in their environment. This is a system. And so, especially when it comes down to the educational system, because their thing is go to school, and what do they always say? They call career, job, to me, same thing, because you're still working a job for someone unless you have your own business. And even if you have your own business, what type of service are you providing with that business? What is that business doing for your people? So I really, really have been pondering on much of what you're saying. Yeah, I'm so grateful that you brought this topic out, because I've really been looking at things on another level as far as how we have really been infiltrated and how we are defeating ourselves, and really what's being done to the children, because the children will become the elders eventually. So what do the children have to stand on? What is their purpose? What is the strength? What will they have to do? How are they being raised? Where is their mindset at? Will they be able to survive and continue on with the roots of the foundation of the people? And that is very, very important, because I'm finding that a lot of the children that in the Nuwaupu Nation, many of them really, really, really see this as just something to do. It's not really like oh, I am a Nuwaupian, I am a Yamasi, Native American Nuwaupian. It's not there. It's not in the heart. It's not something like, oh yeah, well, I'm going over here and I'm going to be learning this. And this is where I'm being guided at. Okay, so you say you want to do this, right? Yeah, well, I want to do this. So, well, we see something in you, and I want you to try this also. As far as the dress, the language, the dance, all of those things are very profoundly important. And so I'm really grateful that you are, sharing this, because it's confirming. And it's really answered a lot of the questions that I've been pondering in my mind, especially as far as the relationships are concerned, because it's like many people, they don't get together to fulfill each other's goals. So it's like you said, everything transpires in the bedroom. So it's like, after that, then what are you doing? Why are you together? It's like, okay, well, what's the plan? What is the plan outside of that? Are we fulfilling the goals? Okay, well, you have this goal. I'll help you with that. But then I have my goals, so I'm going to go over here and do this. But, yeah, we can come together. We have one common goal, and then you can see progress. And that's where you have fun. That's where you start building. You start bonding on a whole nother level. Because it's really, really way more to a relationship than I think that we have been, as far as our mind is concerned, the TV thing, the movie thing, the rose-colored glasses thing. So, I totally identify exactly with what you're saying, because especially with the men, the confidence things for the men, that is like so important, because a lot of men really, I know, I mean, I wasn't living like physically, with back then, but yet the pride of a man was the work and the skill that he did with his hands, that he did, and if he had a mind to go along with that, the looks was an added thing. Yet women were looking at him like, you know what, this is a hard-working man, and he's a great builder. He seems to be a family man, and he seems to be like, you know what, I want to be with you, and this is what I have to bring to the table, and, and the whole courting, dating part that you brought up, a lot of people do not want to even do those steps. And I think that there has been a lot of confusion as far as that is concerned, because now we have the so-called 90-day rules and all of these different other attributes, these other things have been thrown into the pot. So a lot of sisters are like, well, do I have sex with him before I get married, or do we get married, or do we get married at all? And all, it's like a big mass confusing type of energy as far as that is concerned.
That's true. That's true. I think that when you're dealing with a system that we're in, the main thing that system did to us mentally is not allow us to trust each other. That's why you have problems with not wanting to court, because both sides, male and female, is like, I don't know if they're not dating anybody. I don't know if I don't know. They're looking at each other and they're unsure about each other because they don't trust each other. So because you can't court a person properly if they're still dating other people. That's the purpose of courting, because both people have already made a mutual agreement that this is the person that I'm going to go ahead and deal with, nobody else. You can't court if you're going out with other people, because that's being deceptive. That's the thing, is that man also on this side, and this is just me, man also has to come with a certain amount of integrity that, okay, what he says is what it is. And his word is his bond. If he's coming in saying, okay, look, I'm coming to court, I'm coming to do this, he has to also be a man to stand upon himself and say, there's nobody else here. we're going to go ahead and build with each other. So that's the thing, is that, we are not allowed to come together except physically. So it's a rarity that you see couples and relationships that they pretty much revolve around each other, meaning that, they're around each other pretty much most of the time. They run a business together. They raise their kids together. They've destroyed that, because the main thing is to get rid of the black male. The black male is now obsolete in the society. The black woman is in the corporate world. She's getting the jobs that they have engineered for her to get. So she's now taking on the masculine and the feminine role. Whereas the male, he has no role whatsoever, because, again, he's no longer a slave. They no longer need physical slaves like that in terms of cotton fields. Now they went from the cotton field now to the prison system. So now the family structure has been destroyed in terms of us coming together and building. Now it's like basically every man and woman for himself in terms of black relationships. We have to start looking at it from that angle. And when we are able to do that, then we're able to try to come together on a common sense bond and say, this is what we as a people are dealing with. And the thing is that I talked about this with a couple of people about the whole polygamy situation. I said that would be something that you would do with someone if you felt like that was like a last resort situation, meaning that you're looking at situations that we're dealing with now in terms of our people, in terms of Nuwaupians as a race. I'm not saying this just a nation, but just a race, because we're slipping into a zero birth rate now. Caucasians have been in a minus birth rate since inception, but we're going into a zero birth rate, meaning that remember, as a population in the society, we've been held to 13% since 1790. So they've been able to curb our population growth. So now we're going into we're in 2015. Within the next 15 years, we're going to go into minus birth rate the same way he already is. So that's why you're looking at the population of males in terms of females. In every major city in the United States, black men, it's like 1 to like 8 to the sisters. So you got to find a man who is alpha, meaning that he's taking care of his business, to put it in a plain and simple form, that it may be a sister that's coming to you saying, look, it's a sister I know that she is having a hard time finding a man that's taking care of his business, that's, you know, a man of integrity, that is a teacher, that is a builder, all these things, and she would like to be added to the unit. That is something that you have to also agree upon initially. You can't come with that within like 2 years and say, okay, I'm going to do this because I want to do it. Then, you know, you run the risk of destroying a unit that you created based upon honesty. You don't want to do that. Be honest with the situation. Say, well, look, we realize the way time is, and that may be something that we need to entertain, but if not, then we can keep it pushing. That's how you create an even stronger bond with the person you're with, because you're open with that person. Most of the time in relationships, I've experienced this, where you get to a point where you're afraid to ask questions. And once you get to that point, you might as well back away. You're afraid to make statements. That person should be someone who literally should be able to read your mind at some point. And if you can't get to that point with that person, then, again, you're still wasting time. You got to want to get to that point, because you can. It's just that we feel like we can't because of, you know, because your confidence gets broken down based upon the amount of time that you may fail in a situation. But you got to look at them no longer as failures, but as experiences in which you can learn from. That is what prepares you for the right situation. Does that make sense too?
Wow, that makes like so much sense. Wow. I mean, really, that's just so profound what you just stated, because that's so true. And that's the whole thing about it. I mean, I know for a fact that when we're around certain people, they can make us feel very comfortable. But like you said, because of experiences, we have put up a wall. And so there's only but so close I'm going to let you get, even when we get together in the same household. Mm-hmm. Because you still may hurt me. You still may not be that person that you say you are. So we do come into the relationships with a lack of trust. And then when we meet someone who is not like that, we look at them like they have an ulterior motive, which is really a natural response, considering all of the mess that many go through, to maybe get to that one person. And then that one person, it's up to them to be upright, honorable, trustworthy, reliable, dependable, keep their word, and do all of the things necessary to reassure the other person, you know what, I'm for real. I know what you've been through, but you need to look at my track record with you. What have I done to make you not trust me? And I know that this is like a very, very big, huge issue, because a lot of people come into relationships with all the other people that they've been with. And they don't give the person that's standing right before them the opportunity to show and prove who they are, to show and prove, you know what, I'm the real deal, and I'm going to show you I'm the real deal. Yet it takes the other person to let their guard down, be vulnerable, and say, you know what, I'm going to give this person a real chance, and I'm going to see. I'm going to see. And that's just the reality of it, because a lot of people really, really, really don't want to do that, because, like they say, some people are with someone and they have their they're with person A, but they have a B and a C friend that's lurking in the wings, so that if A don't work out, they still keep in contact with B and C on that level, because you can't get with B and C unless you have that type of relationship with them to be able to keep them as a B and C.
Right.
And so that's just the reality of things. So I mean, I totally get what you're saying. With everything that you're saying is so right on point. And you made a very valuable point when you first started, that a lot of people don't want to go where you've gone right now with relationships, because the polygamy part is a huge issue. Huge issue. And for me, I'm like, you know what? You need to be upfront. Just tell me.
Right.
Just tell me. Look, you if that's what you want to do, we need to talk about that. I need to know, okay, how do you feel? How do I feel? You know, is this something you want to do? Is this how you like to do things? And then we discuss it, you know, on that level. It's just a lot of people nowadays, a lot of people are in polygamous relationships. It's just not one that's mutual. It's usually the brother, he has his other 2 or 3, and the sister is doing what she's doing. And I'm just saying from the brother's aspect mostly, and that's really what's going on. It's just that it's not mutual. And so they already have, a lot of men already have a couple of women already. And that's just the reality of it. And the other women, now they using the term side chicks.
Right.
And, you know, on that level, these little slang terms that they think are cute and funny, which I don't think is cute or funny, and I don't feel it's acceptable as far as that is concerned. So it takes I think a lot of men, as far as their confidence, again, back to that, is that they don't have the confidence to say to a sister or a woman that, you know, I'm the type of man that, you know, I care about you. I'm glad we're in this relationship. You know, I want to be in this relationship with you, but, you know, I really usually like to have another woman, and it's because of the fact that's not really acceptable in Western society. Right. So a lot of women really already have their guard up about it. They have you know, an issue with that, because I could use example for myself is that, you know, when I was younger, I was with this brother, and I really cared about him. And he was doing what he was doing, but yet he was already in a relationship. And I cared about him enough that had he told me the truth, we would still be together to this day in the relationship with the other sister. To see, that's not I don't know, for whatever reason why he couldn't be honest. I don't know. But yet I'm saying is that it takes a certain level of honesty and confidence, because a person has the right to walk away. If you tell them, that's my right. Oh, you know, well, I like you. You know, I think we would have been good together, but that's not how I want to live my life. And I think that's one of the main issues, that a lot of brothers, as far as their confidence level, as far as a lot of sisters would tell them, quick, fast, in a hurry, I'm not with that, that's not for me, and different things. And I think it's way more than less of the women who are really, really not for that situation.
Yeah. I'll slow down in a minute, but just to close it out with this. Yeah, it's just about being fair. Just be honest. If you really have respect for somebody, really, and have love for a person, you're gonna be fair with that person, because what you do is, this is what people have to learn how to start doing. Start putting yourself in that position of the person that you want to be honest with. You want that person to be honest with you, because let's just say a person is just dating, and you want that person to just be honest. You know they're probably dating somebody. Because usually when we're dating somebody, we notice patterns. Everyone follows patterns. This is regardless of the situation. Patterns are created when you're interacting with someone. Once the pattern gets broken down, then all of a sudden you realize that something's going on. So you're the type of person that, anybody, you say, okay, well, hopefully this person is going to come and let me know that something's going on. And they never do. They don't have the integrity, they don't have the honesty to just come to you and say, look, I am dating another person. And that, at least right there, shows the type of person that they are. If they can do that, then that's honorable because they're being honest with you. They care and they respect you enough just to say, this is the situation right here. I just want to let you know that. And whatever you decide to do is up to you, as opposed to having to leave the situation with spirits being severed, because that's so not right. Because those things can be, because we're at the point in relationships where people say now, well, you can't avoid not being hurt. You can avoid being hurt by being honest. People can avoid destroying people's spirits by just being honest with those people. And if they can at least be honest with those people, then they can save a lot of unnecessary drama. Because it's like black people are very emotional. And because we're very emotional, we get very dramatic at things too much. We can take the drama out by just being honest. And that carries over again into polygamy, because most brothers want to do it, but are afraid that if they bring it up, that the person they're with is going to leave. So they're going to find a way to do it. Either they're going to find a way to do it without them knowing about it, or they'll just not do it at all. And either way, that's not good. You have to just be straight up. Just be honest. This is what they want to do. And if they're like, well, I'm not into that, then you can't be afraid the person wants to find someone that doesn't want to be into polygamy. Whereas if that's what you want to do, just be straight up with it. Again, give the person a chance to say, you know what, I'll be in this or I won't. And I think that is at least some form of reparation or repair of damaged relationships, is the honesty fact. Just be straight up, lay it on the table. This is who I am. Don't put cards down that you want them to see, and you got other cards in your back pocket, in your front somewhere, in your sock. Those type of games is ridiculous, and that's why you have people who don't know where they're going and don't know why they want to be in a relationship, because people play games, and what happens is, as you said, people don't know how to let go of different experiences and charge it to experience and not damage situations. So you take on the DNA of that whole experience and you drag it along with you, and you begin to judge everyone else based upon that same situation that went down. That's a problem as well. I just think that, again, the deciding common denominator comes down to just being straight up honest. And if you can do that with everyone that you're dealing with, people will respect you world over, just people over, whether it's male or female. They'll say, well, this person handled his business. He didn't do all that. She didn't do all that. They were straight up, and then that will give you a great base of character. Whereas we forget over the years about how important character is. Character building is very important. We just want what we want when we want it, and then when we don't get it, we still don't care. We don't care who we disrespected and hurt. We just want what we wanted, and that has to stop too, because again, we're being ruled by ego 24 hours a day. And it's not about getting rid of the ego, as my father said. It's about uprooting it and about controlling it. Because everyone needs ego. It's just in different times of your life, of your day, every day. You use it. It's just that with blacks, we use it in the wrong times, and we end up looking foolish for ourselves. So hopefully this was, helpful to you or whoever does listen to this. and listen to the playback. Just want to end it by saying Hatep Bu Ashug, and have a good shadow. Wada'u.
Wada'u, you too.